Hey y'all, you're watching Portie's Garage. It's time for my very favorite part of any car project, putting things back together, especially when you got fresh paint, fresh hardware, new gaskets, new rubber, everything. So, let's get the back end of this Mustang back together. And here's just a sneak peek of the hardware. We got some new trunk gaskets. Instead of these old, very rusty bolts, we got some nice, fresh new ones. Reverse the clock, bring this thing back a few years. I'm gonna start by getting the hinges on this bad boy. That way I can prop it up and then start putting all the other hardware in. This will be a lot easier with two people, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm gonna try and jam some rags here into these crevices. That way, hopefully I don't scratch up my nice fresh paint. All right, one side kind of on. Let's see if we can get the other. All right, we're tentatively holding on. Let's keep on rolling, get these other guys finger tight, see where that takes us. All right, let's take these rags out of here, see how everything's fitting together. Hopefully we don't have to make too many adjustments. It looks like we're gonna be sitting here pretty good. I don't think it looks like anything's gonna be rubbing. And one of the reasons why this is sitting so high, I did go ahead and I put in some new weather stripping while I had this off. The old stuff was so collapsed, the trunk kind of sat in right. This is propping it up a little bit to get that good seal. So let's keep moving on and get these little arms here, see if we can get this trunk held up by itself and start putting on these little components. I remember where I put my ratchet. What's going on here? Somebody's messing with me. All right, it's supporting its own weight. I'm gonna tighten these down and we'll move on to the next. Now I'm gonna work on fishing this wiring back up here so we can get our latch ready, get our lights in, and our little license plate lights here. Well, let's see how this goes. I think what I'm gonna do is tape this together so it's a little more of a bundle. That way I'm not fishing these individual lines in. I can kind of pull the whole thing. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Here's one. Here's the lock. Now let's get this tape off. There we go. All right. Now let's reach in the bag of parts, see what we got. Let's start with this trunk light here. Gonna have to do a little stripping and a little crimping here. Stand by. I don't know why, but I find doing electrical stuff really relaxing. There's a couple crimps here and there. And you can do some really cool stuff. Solid as a rock. Now let's get this guy on. All right, watertight, this baby's going nowhere. Let's bolt it on. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for these license plate lights. We got a black and a brown. I'm glad they made them so similar, so that way I can confuse them. But we'll get those on and move on to the next piece. And one thing I forgot to mention, I'm using this shrink wrap to kind of hold everything together. I really like this stuff in particular because it has a glue on the inside, so it just adds a little extra oomph. This stuff's never coming apart. And bam, just like that, we got lights back. Let's move on, start working on this hinge here, or latch, I should say. So I totally forgot about this piece of the puzzle. This kind of scoots in right here and holds this, so that way I don't destroy anything when trying to get that other clip in. But I forgot to paint it, and it's got to have a little time to dry. So let's put the bumper on while we're waiting. And I did go ahead and picked up some new hardware for this. Instead of those rusty old pieces of crud. Bumper is on. And boy, is it looking good. Let's throw the lights in and see if everything starts looking like it's coming together. That's looking good. Let me get these bolted in and we'll move on. My little lock piece has now been painted and dried. Let's get back to putting this latch in. There we go. Ah, she's in there nice and sturdy. All right, let's get this latch mechanism in. And last part on the inside, I think, the little rubber feet here. Right, let's get the keys out of the trunk so I don't lock myself in, or out I should say. Let's see if this baby wants to shut. Wow, look at that. Let's get the rivet on this lock cylinder piece. And then all that should be left is our badges. Bam. Bam. Now we're really coming together. Couple more finishing touches here and we should be all done with the back end. Woo! Let's get some pinstripage going on this bumper. Looking good. I already got my little 3M tape here on the back. It's been quite a while cutting this thing out, so let's see if I can place it correctly. Not make this look weird. And then same thing for the blue oval. And just like that, we're back in action. We put a lot of work into the rear end of this old Fox here. Looking on the outside, we've fixed the sagging rear bumper. We replaced the rotten out lower quarter. We've got some sick looking SVO 93 Cobra knockoff taillights. The bumper and the trunk lid are all painted up and shining. Woo! This is starting to look mean. So I got most of the bumper painted, but what I want to do is get some flat black here and around these lighting surrounds and on this grill. So this has been curing for about a week or so. I'm gonna start taping it off and we'll get ready to spray some paint. Got her all taped up. I even did tape on the inside of these just in case the wind blows any flat paint in there. I'm just gonna throw the big old plastic bag over and we'll start painting. And here we are, got all the flat black pieces painting up. That grill almost killed me. There are so many little surfaces and angles in here. I think I have about like 10 coats on this thing, trying to make sure I get into every nook and cranny. But we'll let that cure, take the bag off, and we'll see what we got. All right, I dig it. Got the front bumper all wet sanded down, and I attached the nose cone in there. Just a bunch of rivets. Some of them worked properly, some of them did not, so I had to snip them, and I'll end up grinding that down a little bit. But we'll keep on moving on, get this on the car, and start doing some polishing. Front bumper's all nice and polished up. I still haven't thrown some wax on it, but I'll go through and do that a little later when I am no longer sick of buffing. But for now, oh yeah, it's starting to look like a car again. And there we are, all nice and polished up. I'll be honest, I wasn't too thrilled with how this front bumper came out, but after some wet sanding, some polishing compound, and some wax, it really starts to shine. And I love the contrast with the flat black grille and headlight housings right against that gloss black. That looks sharp. I think all that's left is throw some pinstripes on her, and we should be done with the front bumper. Most of the painting on this car went pretty well, but this hood just giving me problems. It came out with all these dimples and ridges and everything, and I just wasn't digging the look of it. So I threw it on the sanding block, tried to wet sand it, and then I ended up going through the paint in more than a couple spots before I could get it flat. As you can see here, one side was especially bad. Then I had the genius idea, hey, let's spray paint it, well, how bad can that be? And that also turned out very poorly with stripes and all sorts of stuff, just not my bag. So ended up firing the paint gun back up and actually painted it the right way. Let's get this hood on. I'm going to attempt to do it myself. We'll see how it goes. All right, we're just in there finger tight. I'm gonna keep getting these fully tightened down, and I'm gonna line the hood up, and then we'll see how it all looks when it's back together. There we go. Lining up, looking pretty good. Let's get this old girl a wash and see how everything's looking. And after every successful reassembly, always got to go find a nice parking lot and take some glamour shots. Just soak in the work that you've done. And hey, that's it for this. I think the paint turned out pretty well, about as good as I could get it for having done it in a garage. But it's a lot better than it was before, and no rust holes. So I'm gonna call this one a win. Hey, if you like what you saw, like and subscribe. Got a couple more things coming. Gonna be cleaning up this side trim, doing some suspension work, a little bit of steering stuff, and then down the wire, new wheels for this baby. again, thanks for watching and peace out.